Hey y'all! As you can see, I am in a different location. I have moved back to university, so this is what we're working with right now. I'm going to hopefully find a better filming setup because right now I'm just kneeling on my bed, which is not the most ideal thing for filming, but we're going with it for now because the windows are over here and I need natural lighting. Also, background working with, probably going to try to change it up a bit because I don't know what's going on so far, but right now that's Taylor Swift. That is the Project for Awesome poster for 2018. It has a quote from An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green, which you know I adore, and then just, you know, random knickknacks on a dresser. I don't know what else I'm going to do for this, but I know there's a couple more art prints and photos I want to put up, but they're with a friend right now, so I'm going to hopefully make the background better eventually and find something better than just kneeling on my bed. But we'll go with it for now. So in August, it was the NEWTs portion of the Magical Readathon, which is hosted by G from Book Roast. I will link her channel down below, and I will also link my TBR video for the NEWTs below as well. In that video, I said I was doing the bare minimum, and guess who did the bare minimum? So to get my career as a wand maker, I had to read 6 books, and I only read 6 books this month. And would you believe me if I said I managed to somehow cram for the NEWTs? I finished all 6 books within like a 5-day span. And before that, I'd read like less than a third of like 2 of the books before those 5 days. So I somehow managed to cram for something that wasn't even really an exam. So yay me! I do want to give an honorable mention though right now to Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I finished most of this book in August. And then I just didn't keep reading. I did finish it now in September, but I read most of it and then just kind of stopped for no reason. But I did do that. The first book I read was Rich People Problems by Kwan. This is the 3rd and final installment of the Crazy Rich Asians trilogy. And this was for the prompt of, I don't remember what classes or what grades they were, but this was for the prompt of listen to something on audiobook or read a book with a green cover. And that's what I did. I listened to about a third of this on audio, which, like I said when I was reading China Rich Girlfriend, the book before this, it would have been much harder for me to get through just reading, so I'm really glad I had the audiobook. However, I procrastinated, and my audiobook on the library expired, so I had to finish reading this through ebook, and so I read the other 2/3 of this book on ebook on my flight over to school. And it was fine, gave it 3 stars. It's the same thing as the rest of the trilogy that I thought. I feel like there's too many plot lines and too many characters to be fully invested in any of them. And also, honestly, how they did the plot lines for this book was strange. Like, a lot of the things I was confused on, but it was also really interesting on which characters became friends and, like, they actually hung out and stuff like that. So, yeah, trashy, guilty pleasure kind of read. Don't think I'm going to read it again, but it was really fun for me to read. I said read way too much in that sentence, but we're going to ignore that for now. The next book I read was American Panda by Gloria Chao, which was the prompt of reading a book that starts with the letter A. And I was really, really excited to get into this book. I've heard amazing things about it, and also the synopsis is pretty much Asian American girl in university deals with parents and stuff. And I was like, relatable. Yeah, and it was just fine for me. So first, I think it was just I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was a very standard coming-of-age novel, and there was nothing really that stood out to me personally, even with the representation. But the representation part is actually kind of why I didn't really like it so much, which everyone's experience is different, but I felt like some of the things were a bit too much. And, like, everyone's experience is different, but, like, it wasn't even, like, the big plot lines of, like, disownment and stuff that got me. It was, like, the interactions between characters and stuff like that. So, again, everyone's experience is different. I just wasn't a huge fan of the rep in this book. Then I read Eliza and Her Monsters for the prompt of reading a book with a gorgeous cover, and I gave it 4 stars. I loved it. It was amazing. Eliza and Her Monsters is about a girl in high school who makes this webcomic that is wildly popular. Like, millions of people read this. And one day, a new kid moves to her school, and he is a huge fan of her webcomic, but he doesn't know that she made it. Actually, no one knows that she's made it. And the story goes from there, and romance, high school stuff. I don't know what I'm doing with my arms, but yeah, that's the gist of the story. And I loved it so much. So I loved the characters and their interactions and stuff. Though again, I am just so over reading weird dating drama. So, oh god, I don't remember anyone's name. Shit. This is why you don't read 3 books in one day. I read American Panda right after Rich People Problems, and then I read this right after, and it was like 5 in the morning. So yeah, I'm gonna go Google names right now. Okay, I've given up on Googling the boy's name, but I didn't like the boy near the end. I was not a huge fan of him and what he was doing. I liked him throughout the book, and then not near the end when stuff starts going down. If you read the book, you know what part I'm talking about. But like, I was not cool with what I was doing. Like, hey dude, no. But I thought the mental health rep in this was great. Eliza and her anxiety and like what happens when stuff goes down and stuff, I thought that was done really well. The boy, I don't want to keep calling him the boy, I don't remember his name, but he has selective mutism, and I thought that was really interesting to read. I don't know how people feel on the rep on that, but I thought it was really fascinating to read, and I hope it was good rep because I really adore this book. And then also, I loved kind of the fandom culture and online friends part. I have been on the internet, I've had internet friends for so long, and I love how it portrayed them as like real, actual friends, and not like there's a difference between your internet friend and your IRL friend. I really love that. I really love the sense of community with the whole fandom. Yeah, this book is a fangirl's dream. Read it, read it, read it. The reason I'm giving it 4 stars is because I also gave Radio Silence 4 stars, and I do prefer Radio Silence to Eliza and Her Monsters, so I'm not going to rate Eliza higher than Radio Silence, but the fangirl in me kind of wants to bump it up, but we're leaving it at 4 stars, folks. This is now my most reread book, like, ever. I've read The Prince and the Dressmaker for the 3rd time in about a month and a week. I buddy read this with Alice from Books with Monodrama, I think is her channel name. She's monodrama.jpg at Twitter if y'all want to follow her there too. I Skyped for like an hour and a half with Alice and we read this book together, and y'all know my feelings on this book. 5 stars, it's adorable, it's amazing, the art is brilliant, but it was so fun to read this with Alice, because reading it with someone else, I think you also start noticing different things, and so we made a lot of jokes while reading this. It was super fun. Alice, please buddy read more things with me. I've talked about this book way too much now, but yeah, my most reread book ever. I love it. The Prince and the Dressmaker is about the prince whose family is making him choose a bride, and he, at a ball, sees a girl in a dress, and he decides to hire the dressmaker who made the dress to make dresses for him because he likes wearing dresses. And the story takes off from there, and they go out at night. The prince dressed up in her dresses as Lady Crystalia, and it's about friendship and love and knowing yourself and acceptance and all these things, and I love it. I begrudgingly liked this next book. I read Vicious by V.E. Schwab, which, if you've been watching me for a while, you know my roommate from last year has been trying to get me to read it for like an entire year. And I read it, and I liked it. This is for the prompt of reading a book between 350 and 390 pages. The Prince and the Dressmaker was for read a book under 300 pages. Yeah, I actually really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. This book is about 2 boys in uni. What they did was that they pretty much were doing a research project, and they researched, one of them researched EOs, or extraordinaries, and essentially they figure out that superhuman abilities, which is what EOs have, are real, and they try to make it happen. And then now it's 10 years after these events, and they are rivals, and yeah, the story goes from there. I don't know what else I can say about this book without spoiling stuff, but oh my god, this book kept me intrigued from like beginning to end. This book is told like with kind of present moment and then 10 years in the past. And so I think that's what kept me really interested, because I was always wondering like, oh, where is this going? Where is this going? What is the backstory? Where, like, I was always curious about what was happening next. I also really, can you hear the siren? Oh, please. Please? Please stop? I hope your emergency goes well, but stop. Thank you. So, what was I saying? I was intrigued the whole time, and also, I think part of why I really, really enjoy this book is because I love reading books with Slytherins, and both of these boys are like textbook Slytherins. And you know what? I'm also a sucker for a book about revenge. This is great. This is a great book. I don't know what else to say about it, but yeah, pretty much Slytherin tries to get revenge on other Slytherin. Other Slytherin's done really well for himself. Yeah. Okay. That's where I'm gonna leave it at. I gave it 4 stars. It was great. I'm gonna start reading Vengeful really soon, hopefully. Finally, I read The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur. This was for the prompt of reading a book with a flower on the cover, and I gave it 3 stars. Like I've said before, poetry and it's a hit or miss for me. I really, really love slam poems. I think those evoke a lot of emotion for me, but written poems don't always go so well. So some poets, like Doc Lubin, always get me. But Rupi Kaur is not one of those. And so I did enjoy reading it, I enjoyed the art, but it was nothing special for me, nothing super stood out. The latter part of this book is definitely resonated with me a lot more than the beginning part, but like overall, combined, probably about a 3-star is what it ends up at for me. And that was all the books I read in August. I've already finished a couple books in September, so hopefully my September one will include more books than this one did. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I found a better setup than this, and I will see you sometime. Goodbye.